Well, hello. My name is Charles III, and welcome to a brief history of Europe during the 19th century. Today, I will be discussing the Industrial Revolution. This revolution was a turning point for Europe, creating new inventions and ideas. What happened during the Industrial Revolution changed the world forever. But we can't just look at the Industrial Revolution, we first have to set the scene of Europe before.
It was the early 19th century and Europe was emerging from the Napoleonic Wars. The existing powers in Europe met in Vienna to resolve the issues that were created from the Napoleonic Wars. The Congress of Vienna's goal was to fashion a lasting peace in Europe through a balance of power and a fair settlement to the war. The Empire of France was divided up between the great powers, Austria, Russia, Prussia, and Great Britain. This would form the new map of Europe for the next century. With the wars behind them, European countries were able to focus on social issues and ideologies instead of warfare. One main ideology favored by monarchies, aristocracies, and the church was conservatism. Conservatism was a point of view often held by the ruling classes, in which they advocated for traditions and resisted change. Conservatism tended to have a paternalistic view towards the working class. Another ideology was liberalism, which strongly contrasted conservatism. This ideology was associated with the middle class, such as the bourgeoisie. They advocated for liberty and equality and demanded a representative government. Liberalists also supported free enterprise and laissez-faire economy. The rise of liberalism in Britain was tied to the advance of the Industrial Revolution in Great Britain. Great Britain was the home of the Industrial Revolution because of its political stability. Unlike the rest of Europe, Britain had seen a long period of stability, free from revolutions and war within their borders. The revolution began with a large increase in groundbreaking inventions, such as the steam engine. These inventions, paired with the surplus of resources, revolutionized manufacturing, transportation, and the very nature of work itself. People left their rural farms for urban factory jobs. The Industrial Revolution led to the creation of factories in which low-skilled workers could work for low wages to create mass production of goods. Factories put most expert crafters out of work because they were replaced by factories that created faster and cheaper products. Some of the angry expert crafters decided to protest their unemployment by creating a union called the Luddites. Luddites mainly protested against newly developed machinery such as the spinning jenny, water frame, and the power loom. Luddites raged against the machine. They destroyed machines in factories all over Europe. Northern England experienced the full wrath of Luddites when they destroyed machines that they believed were putting them out of work. Industrialization also led way to the Chartist movement. The Chartists were working people who sought after their political democracy. The Chartists had numerous requests pertaining to their goal, including every man's right to vote, equal electoral districts, the secret ballot, annual elections, terminating the necessity of parliament members, owning property, and payment of the members of parliament. This movement ended after the petitions of the Chartists were rejected 3 times by the year 1848. Another goal of the Chartists was to limit factory workdays to only 10 hours and to allow duty-free importation of wheat to Britain for cheaper bread. The beliefs of Chartists had much in common with the beliefs of liberalists at the time. This revolution was not just one of industrialism, but of emerging ideologies. One specific ideology that began to spread at this time was socialism. Socialism first emerged in France after the French Revolution, but fully developed in reaction to the Industrial Revolution. Socialism was more radical than liberalism with a different intention. Where liberalism focused on the rights of the individual, socialism focused on the community. Where liberalism believed in a laissez-faire economy, the socialists wanted a government-controlled economy. One of the goals for socialism was economic equality and the elimination of classes. The defining leader of socialism was Karl Marx, who wrote the Communist Manifesto, also known as the Socialist Bible. He blended the ideals of the utopians with the struggles of the working class. Another surfacing ideology at the time was nationalism. Nationalism also had origins in the French Revolution, and had some common goals with liberalism in that it saw the people as the source of government, but it went in a different direction. It focused on the cultural identity of a people and the belief that those who shared a common language, culture, and territory should be a unified nation. Based on this idea of cultural unity, it had a specific political agenda to form independent nation-states. Their view of cultural unity was an ideal and not a reality at this time. Europe at this time was fragmented regionally. There was not distinct national identities. After the Congress of Vienna, Germany and Italy faced complications. These countries had difficulties because they were so fractured. These countries had internal conflicts and little cohesion. Through nationalistic beliefs and leaders such as Count Camillo Cavour, Giuseppe Garibaldi, and Giuseppe Mazzini of Italy, and the German Prime Minister Otto von Bismarck, each of these countries became unified. While nationalism was a driving force in unifying these countries, it could lead to a feeling of national superiority that would eventually create world conflict. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, 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 dun.
Tune in next time for our 7th installment of European history, where we will be discussing the effects of nationalism and the First World War. Well, hello there. Well, hello there. Thank you. Well, hello there. Is that good?
Is it roll one?
It might.
Tune.
Actually, I don't know. I don't
Look, try it now. No, taking the book out. Try it.
I'll be like,
Sassy take number one.
ready? Like, tune in next week.